Hi everyone. How is everyone doing today? Okay, so I'm not going to take much time, but it's going to be 1 hour 15 minutes. And this session is about like introduction to InDesign. It covers the basics of InDesign. So anybody in the audience here who has a deep knowledge of InDesign, can we have a raise of hands please? So the people who have never heard about InDesign, can we have a raise of hands please? Wow, that's a lot of people who know InDesign here. So this session is going to be a very basic session, and we're going to do a print brochure, very basic controls of InDesign. So let me begin this session with this meme. Not sure if InDesign is like a torture device to all of you all over here. Is it very intimidating for all of you? And sometimes what happens is when I open InDesign, it does look a little intimidating to me with all the panels and the tools and the workflows going haywire. So this session is an attempt to even trying to simplify that kind of experience, not make it so intimidating, and giving you guys the power to learn it much faster in a much more structured manner. So let me introduce myself. I am Mrinalini Sardar. I'm the experienced designer for Adobe InDesign. I've been working on this product for the last 3.5 to 4 years, and there has been huge learning for me. Other than InDesign, what do? I doodle a bit. I make these really scribbly sketches, and to just get away from all the UI and the UX, I take like really, really thin rotring pens and I keep on like doodling. That gives me my own space. Inside InDesign, the features that you're seeing on screen are the ones that I've closely been associated with. And thanks to the InDesign team back home in India, they're a fantastic team. We have some people over here. We have Javed, who is the product manager. We have Anurag, who is the engineering manager. And we also have Sridhar, who is the design manager. So can we have like a round of applause for these amazing people, because the product has been running for years because of them. So yeah, I've basically done images in table cells, I've done CC libraries, I've done arrowheads. Publish online. How many of you all here have heard the name Publish Online? Can we have a raise of hands? I can see my PM just raising his hand. So I'll touch a bit upon Publish Online also at the end, and OpenType enhancements. Let's move ahead. 10 essential things that we would love to learn in InDesign if we start from scratch. Talking a bit of the product, the workspace that we have inside the product. How do we play around with images? How do we put text onto canvas? How do we put styles to text? And styles is really powerful in InDesign. Trust me, when I show you the demo, you guys will really love it. Swatches, basically adding color to your text, and text wrapping. Can someone guess here what is text wrapping? It's sort of like you have text and you have image, and you're wrapping the text around the image. And it's really powerful over here because you have to do that a lot in layouting. We can add page elements to make the layout look really rich, like add page numbers, add graphical elements to the canvas. And finally, we come to exporting the entire document. So here I'm going to show you two kinds of export, like exporting a print document as well as publishing it online. And a bit about touch apps if we have time, sort of how do people work on tablets and take their designs to InDesign. Questions, if it's not very pressing, please hold on to it, because we have a structure to this. So if it's pressing, please raise your hand and I'll definitely try to answer them. The survey, everybody's running behind the survey. It's like Do we have anything better to do after we finish this session? Of course, I'm just going to Yelp a place or do something, but please take out some time if you don't want a goofy person like me coming again and teaching you all InDesign. It really matters because the max content that you see upon here, it all depends on the survey that you put on your app. So definitely give it a shot and you can win a Wacom also. I really love the Wacom. I doodle with it all the time. So about InDesign CC, it's a very powerful publication tool and it helps you make a variety of things around you. Annual reports, brochures, publications, your branding, your business cards. So if you even walk around the entire San Diego city, all the print stuff that you see, most of it is layouted and created on this tool. And after this session, if you look closely at the type and the layout and the spacing and the play of elements on a layout, it's all possible because of this tool. So let's make a brochure. I'm going to teach you how to make a print brochure. I'm just going to go to Acrobat and show you what we're going to make today. So it's a little piano festival brochure. If you see, there's a cover page. There's a main heading which says Piano Festival. There's a small subheading which says 14th edition. And if you go to the next page, I've put in images, I've put in body text, I've put in some basic elements like page numbers. You can see an example of text wrapping right here. Basically, you see a piano and text around it. So this is called text wrapping. If you see the space in between these two columns, this is called the gutter. These terms are very important once you open up the tool because you're going to all the time interact with all these terms. And of course the cover. So this is what we are going to make today. So let me go back to my presentation and let's make a brochure. Setting measurements, it's almost like when you start painting something, you get all your tools together in a particular place, right? So setting measurements in InDesign is extremely important because as a default, the tool opens up with the picas. And one pica is basically is equal to 12 points. Now you don't want to work in picas because we don't know these complex arrangements. I usually work in millimeters. Some of you here might be working in inches. So every time you go and press in a field, if you press 2 millimeters, it will always change to picas. So for doing this, for setting up your space, I'll just show you a demo to set up your measurements. So you press Command K and then you go to the Units and Increments tab. Basically, you get the Preferences panel over here in InDesign. And then you go and set the horizontal and the vertical units. And as you can see, the default is picas. Now, I'm going to change it into millimeters. I don't even know what ciceros mean. So I'm just going to go and change it into millimeters because I like the detail of measurements and the detail of layouting. I'm just going to press OK. And after you do this, it's never going to change. It's always going to stick to millimeters. Your rulers are going to stick to millimeters. Anything that you press in your fields, if it's a measurement, it's going to stick to millimeters. Now let's move on to setting the interface color. Interface color is like the lighting in this room. If I want to make it darker, if I want to make it lighter, it depends a lot because we all stare at this software for hours. This is our tool. We're always staring at the laptop and sometimes we don't like a dark UI, sometimes we like a light UI. It depends on what book or what publication that we are making. So InDesign basically gives you 4 stops of colors. It ranges from light to dark. So here I'm going to show you how to change the interface color of the product. So again, Command K, it's like the god of all panels. It's the preferences panel. You use it to change all the global settings. You go to a tab called interface and there you go. You have something called the color theme. And over here, it's right now in the medium light UI. And I'm fine with it, but I usually like working in the medium dark space. So if I change it to dark, it goes a little too dark. So I'm just going to choose the right gray. And as you can see, InDesign gives you a lot of power with sliders as well. So you can adjust the interface based on the slider. So there you go. You can play around with the slider and set it to the right lighting that you want for the tool. So I'm good with medium dark, and basically medium dark maps to 33% of the UI brightness, and I'm just going to press OK, and now the entire tool has adapted itself to the interface color that is medium dark. Creating a new document. It's like if you have a book or if you have like a publication and you want to set it up, you have to set it up right. This is the most important part before you start laying out things. So this is how the layover looks like in InDesign. I'm just going to start with the demo where I'm going to show you what this layover actually means. Here you have the CC files and presets, and in recent, because I've been like working hard for this demo, you have all these recent documents which look alike because I've tried multiple areas. Now you have a list view and a grid view as well. Once you go into the list view, you see the same thumbnails in the list format. Now CC files are files, InDesign files that are there on Creative Cloud. So here you can see the .indd format. It lists right here. Presets, very important. It makes you makes your work much faster because you have like iPhone 5, iPhone 6, multiple presets right here inside InDesign. And this is a letter example. You basically see the dimension and the color profile for presets. And you can customize your presets because as designers, we sometimes like to customize our settings with all our margins and columns. At the bottom, what you're going to see is like some marketing messages. Over here, Stock is really cool. It just announced its partnership. You have a really huge platform of images from Stock. You can also learn a bit about InDesign, as well as it tells you something about the layouts that you can create from touch apps, and tells you something about Comp CC, which I'll hit on later. Now coming to the most important part of this layover, it's Command N, which is the new document dialog. So I'm just going to press Command N, and there we have it, the legacy dialog of InDesign. And this is the most powerful dialog in InDesign. You can save presets from here. That is the Save Document Presets button. And today, since we're going to make a print brochure, so we are going to keep the intent as print. You can also customize your presets. Basically, I'm showing you the mapping here, where in the layover you can customize your presets. You can also customize your presets from here. The intent, there are 3 intents in InDesign. It's print, web, and mobile. So I'm just going to stick to print because I'm creating a print brochure for now. Facing pages means if you have a document and there are like these 2 pages, that is what it's called facing pages. You have like 2 spreads. The number of pages, I'm just going to keep it at 6 for now. And I don't really like A4 as a size. I like letter better, so I'm going to like change it to letter. I'm not going to mess around with the width and height because it gives me the letter size. The orientation, portrait, landscape, everybody knows this. But you have 2 thumbnails there signifying portrait and landscape. Number of columns, so InDesign lets you set number of columns from the beginning so that you have a basic grid setup. Gutter, I told you about the space between 2 text columns. I'm just going to keep it at 4.233 mm. Margins, I'm not going to mess around with that. 12.7 looks good to me. And bleed and slug. Now bleed, many of us get confused with what is bleed. Bleed is basically when you want the image to extend till the edge of the document. And after the printer does a flash cut, that is what bleed is about. And so I want to set bleed as 5 mm. That means when a flash cut happens, the final size is called trim size. So I want the image to stretch out till the edge. And I'm going to show it to you once I set up the bleed, how it looks on canvas. What is the visual affordance behind it? So okay, I've set up like 5 as bleed, and the preview checkbox in InDesign is very powerful. So after I've set up all these options like letter, a portrait, a number of columns is 3, the margins is 12.7, set up my bleed as 5 I'm going to press this checkbox, which is the preview checkbox. And when I do that, I can actually visually see all these settings instead of just this, like, this dialogue telling me how it's going to look like. Now I've set up 3 columns, and you can see that this red area that is there, it's called the bleed area, and this purple line that you see, this is the cutter. So this is what we set up. I'm just going to press OK, and there we have it. We have a basic framework ready, and we're going to lay it out, put more meat on it, and make a print brochure. Are we going good, guys? Very nice. So the workspace. This is like having a set of tools with you. Like when I work, I like to keep my pencils and my pens in a very organized way. Some people like want to splatter paint all around them. So InDesign gives you multiple options to set up your workspace. This is the best way you can find your tools. If you don't set it up, you might get confused later on. Where are my panels? Where is my control panel? Why isn't this tool here? So when you set up your workspace, it's very important that you follow what the tool is all about. Like, you should know what the tool and the workspace is all about. So this, the topmost bar, it's called an application frame. This is where you actually, like, you can set up your workspace. The Essentials tab that you see absolutely on the right, that is where you can change your workspace settings. This is the control panel. This is the most powerful part of InDesign, because once you select something, the control panel tells you what options are going to reflect here. So you don't have to open panels all the time. So let's say you choose your text tool. The control panel is going to just show you the settings of the text tool. So I'm just going to show you a demo here, but after I do the toolbar as well. So from the left hand side, you see the toolbar. It's got multiple tools in it. I usually work with a set number of tools. On the right hand side, you have panels. Panels are extremely important because it's like sort of palette. It's a palette of colors, it has your strokes, it has layers, it has pages. So it becomes very important before you start working on the document. This is your main artboard, or your like the page that you're going to build up. And behind this, the gray area that you see, it's called pasteboard. You can obviously go to preferences and set up your pasteboard colors and give it a different dimension. And if you see the tab right there, I've not colored it, but it has a small asterisk on it. And let me go and show you the space right here. So if I just zoom in here, this asterisk that you see, it tells you that InDesign has not saved the document yet. InDesign is yet to save it. So this is a very minute visual affordance that tells you that you have to save it. So please don't forget to save your documents. I've lost a couple of documents and I never want to lose them again. So keep on pressing Command S to save it at the right time. So I'm just going to get back. So placing images, this is when we start actually playing around with images. Couple of people ask me, how do you place images? How do you insert images? There's nothing called insert. But in InDesign, it's called place, and the shortcut for it is Command D or Control D on Windows. So I'm going to give you a demo of how you actually insert an image into a frame. This is the frame tool. It has an F to it. So if you press an F shortcut, the frame tool turns up, and you have to make a frame. So it's not necessarily that people work in boxes and you can also place an image, but usually when you're creating layouts and you're creating multiple layouts, you like making your structure much easier. So you like playing around with boxes and you try demarcating your space. So I did a Command D, I have some images and I want to place it here, but this looks really weird. my image looked different, and right now when I placed it in the frame, I don't see anything. So if you go to the control panel right up here in the right hand corner, you see fill frame proportionately. When you click that, what it did right now was the image actually adjusted itself to the height of the frame. So if you see here, the image might have been bigger, but the height of the image has mapped to the frame area. Now, there are multiple options of fitting this. If I double click on the image, if you see there is a sort of reddish line, that is the image frame, and the blue line is basically the frame that you originally created. Why InDesign keeps it differently is because sometimes you just don't want your boxes and your layouts to move. You might want to change images. So that's why ID keeps it very different. Let's go to the second option, which is fit content proportionately. In fitting content proportionately, when I click that, the image, what it did now was it adjusted to the width of the frame. So you can see the spacing over there. There is space right now. So these are very powerful frame fitting options. If you set frame fitting options to these levels, all the images, whenever you put it inside this frame, it's going to fit exactly like that. This is fit content to frame. I won't advise that because the image just got very disproportionate, and we don't like disproportionate images in design, right? So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to like see what is the space that is between the image and the text frame. How do we adjust this? How do we make it fit perfectly? So I'm going to do fit frame to content. So sometimes we have images and I'm just going to take my box and it should just fit it around the image. So very powerful options of auto fitting, because this is a very powerful tool for layouting. Now if you see that this blue frame has fitted perfectly across the around the image, but when I'm trying to play around with this image, it's cropping it. It's not moving the image, it's along with the frame. Why this happens in InDesign is because there are two frames that I spoke about. Again, when I try to press shift and I try to transform this, any side, the frame moves independently of the image. And this is very important when you understand InDesign, because sometimes people get very frustrated trying to play with the image and the text frame, but if you know the difference between the frame and the actual image, you'll have a lot of power. So right now what I'm doing is, I just did auto fitting and I just scaled the image. Now auto fitting, what it does is it always keeps the image stuck to the frame. So I usually like working with auto fitting so that I don't have to remember why the image is not moving with the frame. So I love auto fitting, man. Like that's the coolest thing ever. So I would love to like work with auto fit and adjust my images this way. So now I have this perfect image right here. If I press E shift, I can actually see the live preview of actually playing around with the image. So I like this way because I want to see till which level it's going when I'm trying to transform it. And now we'll come to something called adornments on the frame. So if you see this frame, it's an object frame and we have something called the link adornment. When I press option, when I option click on that, we get the links panel. Links panel is a very important part of InDesign, because when you have a document, because we have huge number of pages inside the publication, right? We can have more than 100 to 200 pages. So the links panel, what it does is, it sort of makes the file size very, very less. You can have thousands of pages, but your images are basically in a folder. So it's linked, it's never embedded. You can obviously embed it, but usually it works with a link. So this is the links panel. You can relink, you can edit the original link. If a link goes out to date, it also shows you a very red angry sign with a question mark right there where you see the links adornment. So when a link is out of date, basically your printer can never see the image, or anyone you're sending the ID file to cannot see the image. This is also the fact why you should always package an InDesign document and never just send the source ID file to a printer, because you're going to just lose the text and the images, and the end guy will never be able to see what you're seeing on your screen as the source file. So I showed you how to place a single image in a frame, right? This demo is about placing multiple images. So we have something called the place gun. The place gun is a powerful tool which helps in placing multiple images on two frames. So I have a couple of images that I want to place in these two frames right next to each other. And I will choose back cover and black grand piano, and there I go. So I get a cursor. It's a bracket cursor and it says two images. Basically that means the cursor is loaded with two images, and pop, there it goes. I click on the box, I click on another box, the image just goes directly inside the frame. So now there's another way. If you already have an image inside a frame, if you see there's an option here which says replace selected item. So on any image, if you again press Command D, that is the place command, it just replaces the existing frame over there depending on the frame fitting options. So that is basically placing images. Now another way of placing images is about CC libraries and stock. Now CC libraries is very powerful. I've been using it recently, and it's like a little pouch where you keep all your paints and your pen and your assets, your colors, your styles, multiple like character styles and paragraph styles which are there in InDesign. That's the power that InDesign has right now with CC libraries. And also you can search stock for images. So this demo is about how you actually place an image from libraries. Okay, so let me delete all the frames that I just created, and now I'm going to start constructing my brochure, give it like more meat. So I'm going to put a cover image, and I like my images to be like big and powerful. So I'm just going to make a frame across the bleed area, and I'm going to do a Command D place command. So here what I'm doing is I'm basically placing an image from my computer. Whatever is on my hard disk. If I made a folder, this is how the image looks like. So I'm going to set the fitting options as fill frame proportionately because I want my image to come in a nice way. And so we've seen this is the area, like these purple lines. Sometimes a lot of text frames and a lot of things on the document makes it look really weird. So I like pressing W. W is the command for actually changing workspace. You can switch between workspaces, keep it very clean, place your image, go toggle between W and see the document space really shine up and giving you a clean look. So there are multiple options there. If you hover over that icon right there, it's normal preview. I usually toggle between normal preview. That's good enough for me, but you can explore the other options. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you like the most brilliant thing in the world, that is copy paste. Now who didn't know that, right? But there is, like, we copy paste all the time. We're doing it all the time in design. And let's say I want to move this image and I want to copy paste it, like paste it exactly at the same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Option Command W, Shift Option Command W. That's like making my fingers really sore, because if I press more than like 2 or 3 shortcuts, this is like a complex shortcut. It uses 4 commands, and there we have it. I've placed my image. I'm slowly giving it more meat. So here you see this is the margin of the left hand side frame. So I'm making a frame right here, and I'm going to place my next image, which is going to be from CC libraries. So I've made my frame, I've set it up. And now right over here on the right hand side panel, we have CC libraries. There's a library that I have created. It's Max 2016 demo. You can create multiple libraries, name it, and put assets in it, put your styles in it. Whatever you work in the InDesign space, you can make a small library out of it and keep it ready. You can share libraries. You can collaborate with people. You can add color to your libraries. You can add styles to your libraries. And this is the icon that tells your library is up to date. So every time you don't have internet or like you're in an internet, no internet zone, you can see that icon and it'll sync up later. So these are the options in CC library. It's really powerful, and you can sort by date and name. You can learn more about it. It's right there. Please go and explore it. If you guys like it, you all can just write back to us if you all hate it as well. So that's about CC library. So now I'm going to do like a stock search. So in the search bar, I need a piano image. So I'm just going to type piano, and it gives me a lot of results of these piano images, and it's in various color tones. So I'm looking for a really dynamic image. Let me see if I can find one. I like that red piano image a lot, and there I see two circular buttons. And what are these buttons? These buttons are basically once, if you click on it, it will let you purchase it. And the other one is it can let you save a preview to your library. So you don't have to license it, you don't have to buy it. Once you save the preview, it syncs to your library, and you can show your client whatever you want, searching from stock. It'll have one of the watermarks, but it's acceptable, right? You don't need a licensed image. It'll have a watermark, but later you can like license it. So when you hover over these images, you see an unlicensed and you see a licensed image as well. So I'm just going to drag that image into the frame. And again, I see the bracket cursor. I'm going to put it there. It's going to pop in. And I have my image ready there from CC libraries. I'm going to close libraries, and I'm going to see how it's looking. Not bad, right? But actually, I want something more black and white. But before I go there, I see another icon over here. So over here in InDesign, especially and only in InDesign, we have this tool where you can license an image. So once you've built up your entire document and you have unlicensed images on it, you can license it. And okay, so stock starts licensing this image, and I have 477 licenses. I don't know what to do with that, but you guys should definitely try it. I'm sure you guys will not have 477, but because I'm trying out workflows, that's why I have it. So please guys go ahead and try it out and let us know what you feel about it. Give us more feedback on this so that we can improve the library's experience. We're currently working on it, so any feedback will be really, really helpful for us. So we're building a lot of power into the library so that it becomes one destination where you can work from. So now, since I have this image, I'm just going to like build it up according to my final result. So my final result, I want something more black and white. It's a piano festival and the red was too jarring. So I'm just going to take another picture from libraries and pop it inside that frame. Again, I get the placeholder gun. And if you see the cursor changes, actually on a frame, the cursor changes into a bracket cursor and you can put it right there. Now you see there is an icon right up there which is sort of a cloud icon. Can anyone guess why this icon is there? Because it's linked to the cloud, it's linked to the libraries. And we have a normal link icon for images that are linked to your computer. So this is a visual difference that tells you that some images are linked to your libraries and some images are linked to the pictures that are there on your hard drive in your computer. So this was about CC libraries. Are we good? Do we have any questions till now? Yes. Yeah, when you place an image from your computer or your hard drive, you have that link icon. And when you have it from CC libraries, you have that cloud icon that's right there. There's no difference. The icon is just going to show a linked image. It's going to still be in your document. Only your libraries will take some time to sync if you're offline. So even if you're doing a stock search, you have to be connected to the cloud or some sort of internet because it's like searching stock. So for that part, you need net. But if you put it in your document, it's going to stay right there. The image is still there. It's going to have this visual feedback. So next part, very powerful part, because InDesign is all about type. It's all about adding text and creating styles. So here what I'm going to do is I have the cover page, I have some elements created, and I'm going to add like text to it. I'm going to add my heading, I'm going to add my subheading, I'm going to zoom into that area, and I'm going to make a text frame. Now the shortcut for the type tool is T. It's pretty easy. There are some other shortcuts which are really, really mind-blowing. It'll take some time. You know, it even took me some time to realize that there are these super complex shortcuts. So I don't blame anyone who are always like, you know, even I was writing shortcuts before this session. So I typed in Piano Festival because that's going to be the heading for this document. And then I'm going to type in the edition number for this document. So this is the 14th edition, just decided to call it that. And what I'm going to show you here is how do we like format this. This looks pretty lame, right? Like this is not what I want it to be. I don't want it to be a Minion Pro. And so this is my font menu. It's extremely powerful in InDesign. You have a couple of filters right there. That's your favorite filter. This is the Typekit filter. Add fonts from Typekit. What is Typekit? It's a huge resource of fonts which Adobe has. When you get a Creative Cloud subscription, you get the fonts along with it. And you can always sync your fonts from Typekit. So if you see the whole interface over here, you see an accordion view. Basically that little triangle, it's called an accordion. You can open it, you can close it. It tells you whether it's an open type font or a true type font. And so it's really powerful because I have a huge set of fonts, and I'm sure all of y'all do. Y'all have like more than 200 to 300 fonts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark certain fonts as my favorites. So let's just mark Alba and let's say Alba Matter, and if I press the favorites filter, what it's going to do is it's going to pop up the exact favorited fonts that was there inside it. And if you see that Typekit filter, all the Typekit fonts that you have synced from the cloud, you can just bring it up in one click from the Typekit filter. Now I can always add fonts from Typekit if I want something more playful than a Minion Pro that looks really like old style. So I'm going to go to Typekit, and it has multiple options to make you choose fonts. It has a good classification engine. Like you can choose a slab serif, you can use something which is a sans serif. It has multiple properties where you can filter out fonts according to the weight, the width, the contrast. So you can zoom in and zoom out and see the fonts, because I like to choose my fonts. That is what is going to give weight to the entire document or a poster that you're creating. So it is a process, but Typekit makes it really easy for you, and InDesign definitely makes it more easy for you. So I have this green sync buttons. I don't like sync buttons usually because I find it very weird. I don't know what is syncing, where is it syncing. But I've got used to the Typekit workflow because I don't have to quit my application now. When I press that sync button, the Typekit font entered my font menu, and it's right there. It's called Asia Bat, and it's a Typekit sample font. And I quite like the Asia Bat. I'm going to use this for my brochure. And now what I'm going to do is adjust like transform this entire type, give it some sort of like kerning, leading. Now kerning and leading, how many of you guys like get very confused with these terms, kerning, tracking, leading? Because I actually get confused sometimes. What is this all about? So if you see that icon right there, it's called leading, and this icon right here, which I'm going to like add in a value, let's say around 100. This is basically called kerning. Kerning means the space between two characters, and leading means the space between two lines. So between piano and festival, it's the space that you see there, it's leading. And if you see 14th edition, what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to change the font for 14th edition, but I want a very different font. And I usually like working with Avenir, so I'm going to use an Avenir condensed. So this is how I'm choosing my fonts and actually giving it more weight and meat. So Avenir condensed bold, I'm going to give it some point size. So that's my point size, which I kept it as 20 points. And again, I'm going to open my character panel, the shortcut of which is Command or Control T. And I'm going to give it some kerning, that is 100. So now I have it set, right? Because I wanted the type to, you know, like play with this white space that has been created in the image. So I have the perfect kerning, I have the perfect leading, and I'm happy with it. So after I'm happy with formatting it, let's say you have a 100-page document. You don't want to do this again and again, right? So you open up paragraph styles, okay? And the shortcut for paragraph styles is Command F11. So here you see something called basic paragraph in a bracket, and you have a plus sign. I don't know why plus signs are always there. Even like Michael Ninnis demoed it in the keynote that there's a plus sign on every Spark page possible. But this plus sign basically tells you it's overset. Like this style is, it's override, it's not overset, it's override. Means there is a basic paragraph style that InDesign comes with, and if you see the plus sign, that means it has gone over because I've made custom adjustments to it. So in paragraph styles, you have multiple options. So to move this override, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to select my entire text, do a Command A, and I press this Create New Style. This is how you create a paragraph style. If you press the basic paragraph, it would bring it back to that stupid Minion Pro font, which I don't want. And when I do that, I can put my style name. And please name your styles, because if you pass on your document to anyone else, they're going to get so super confused. It's like layers. So please name it. Take out that little 1 second to name your styles. And you see multiple options here. It's really complex, paragraph styles. I'm not going to get into the details because this is a very basic session. But you can set leading, you can set tracking. There is things called grep. The whole power of it is in layouting the styles for like a really long document. So you see a little description here. It tells you what leading have you put. And my headlines is ready. It's right there. And I'm just going to dock my panel back over here. This is like my toolbar. I don't want it to move. Now, 14th edition, it looks, I'm going to make a style out of this as well, because later on, I'm going to show you guys how to apply styles, like take this style and apply it on another page. So I'm going to name this 14th edition as subheads, and I'm going to change this a bit. I want to make it like uppercase, because Piano Festival, the AC or BAT type was uppercase. So I don't want this to be lowercase. So I go over here in basic character formats, and I press this option called all caps in the case settings, and there you go, the golden checkbox. The preview that you have over there, it just shows me right there that you can set an uppercase for the font. I'm just going to press OK, and my type is ready. My styles are being created. I'm good. I'm finishing off stuff so that I can get out of this session and just like, you know, go for a walk next to the beach. I'm sure you guys are waiting for that to happen after the Max today. So I've set up my paragraph styles, and now we are good to go. We are going to apply it. We're going to apply the styles onto the next page. So applying styles. Any questions in styles? Okay. So whenever you're opening a new document and you're creating styles, those styles are specific to that document. So if you want to copy styles, you can copy those styles. But if you open multiple documents, the styles are there right there for that document. But you can always put it in CC libraries and sync styles. So that's a good way of, keeping styles at one particular place. Yeah, so I'm going to apply styles. So what I'm going to do is, this is my piano festival. It's got a heading style attached to it. So in the next part of the page, what I've done is I've created certain text frames. And this is my heading, and I've like written some stuff there on the heading. It's got international artists, but this looks pretty lame, right? It's exactly the way I had started with the Minion Pro font. So now, instead of going through that whole tedious process of changing the tracking, changing the leading, going and changing the font body, making it bold, all I have to do is open paragraph styles, just click on headlines. Once I click it, there you go. You have styles. Now you can just you can have text all over your copy, and you can just keep on propping styles. And this is so powerful that across a 200-page or a 300-page document, it's essential to create your styles. If you keep on doing it singularly, you're going to waste a lot of time. And I think we cannot go to the beach if you're just like stuck to InDesign all the time, right? So let's move ahead. We see the commonality between the two pages. I have subheads in the second page. I have the heading in the second page. It just matches to the first page. So it's pretty cool, right? Like styles. Okay, so let's go ahead with now creating text frames. So we've created headlines, we've created subheads. Now we want to fill the page with some text frame, some body copy, the actual meat. So right now this cursor is coming really like big. It's because last style that I had applied was headlines, but I don't want it to take the headline style, right? So I'm just going to click on basic paragraph and change the style. So let's just go to basic paragraph. That is what I want it to be. And I'm just going to place in some text. So we have the T tool selected. Again, I'm pointing it out to the toolbar because it will take you a while to realize that T and the T tool is the type tool. So now I've made frames, and I'm just going to put in my text. So InDesign has a placeholder text option. So what's going to happen here is, once I fill it with text, it's going to like flow in with the default text of the InDesign engine. If you see these boxes here, they are very important. When you see the construct of an InDesign text frame, it has multiple adornments on the text frame layer. If you see like the option, if you right click it, you can fill it with placeholder text. But before I fill it with placeholder text, I'm going to show you how to thread text frames. Thread text frames means you're basically linking and connecting frames. It's like a bridge. It's a bridge that you're making. So once I click on that little box there, you see a triangle arrow coming up, and you see the cursor differences. Always notice your cursors. It tells a lot about what you're actually doing. What I did right now was I clicked on the second text frame and it got linked. So now if you see, the boxes are not empty anymore. There's a triangle inside the box that shows you the direction of how the text is flowing. In the second text frame, what you see over here is a triangle. So now you've actually linked those text frames. But how do you see a visual feedback of it? It's so tiny, right? But when you fill it with placeholder text, you can see if I delete something from anywhere, the whole content is going to flow. So this is the power of threaded text frames. You see the space that it created. So this space was created because the text is flowing across two text frames. So now I'm going to go and tell you an option about how to see this much more visually when you have a long document. So if you go to View, Extras, and if you go to this option called Show Text Threads, Option Command Y. This is the shortcut for this. If you show text threads, what's going to happen is, you see this blue line that has come. It's basically telling you wherever the threaded texts are joining each other. So in case that little box is too tiny for you to see, when you're like scanning across or navigating through your entire long doc, you can obviously turn on text threads. If you hate it, just switch it off. So I'm going to type, how are all of you doing? It seems like you all are there. You guys are following it. Things are happening. So I'm just going to repeat this text. And I explained to you overrides, right? Overrides is basically a term associated with styles, but right now I'm going to explain to you overset. So oversetting text, this is a red box with a red plus sign. Again a plus sign. How many plus signs do we have to deal with today? So this plus sign is basically about oversetting text. Overset means you have text left. You have a lot of text left in that frame, but the frame is not moving. So once I elongate this text frame, you see all the text comes out. You can do that as well, but some people, they just like to take that extra part of the text. So when your document is flowing and you're working, you just might want to take this extra part of text and just pop it out, right? So if you see the cursor difference, this is what it shows you. It's got little lines of text over there. That means this cursor has some sort of text associated with it, and when you click it, that text is just going to pop out and be there on screen. That is that extra part of the text that we have. Swatches, we're going to add some color. We're going to add some meat to the text and make it a little more colorful. So power of swatches, I love this part. It's going to add more color to our document. I just don't want it to be black anymore. This layout is too monotone because it's playing around with black and white a lot. So if you see, I just selected my text over here. This is my swatches panel. What does swatches mean? Why isn't it not called color or anything like that? Swatches means it's a global level color setting. Whatever colors you put in your swatches panel, it's affecting at a global layer. So if I change a pink to a blue, it's going to affect all across the document. So in the swatches panel, you can obviously sync it to your cloud libraries. You can create, you can actually see different types of swatches, color groups. You can create new folders of swatches. So this is a color group 1. So you can take multiple swatches and make them into groups and actually play around with these color groups, export these groups to libraries. I can create a new swatch by pressing that button, and obviously the delete button is all across the panels in InDesign. That's not a new thing. So that yellow is horrible. I'm just gonna go and keep it to this default blue, and this is cyan. So I'm quite happy with this blue. I'm just gonna keep it like that and not touch the dock. So this was my swatches. Now what I'm going to show you is how swatches change. Like if I'm going to change a swatch color, how is it going to change across the document? Because I just attached a color to the text, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a shortcut of how to create a text frame really fast. So I'm going to choose my T tool, which is the type tool. Okay, I've selected it here, and I'm going to make a frame. And what I'm doing right now is I'm pressing the side arrow key on my keyboard. And once I do that, you can see that my one text frame gets divided into multiple columns, multiple text frames. So I like 3 columns here. And if you see, it's already created threaded text frames. So this is a really fast shortcut of creating threaded text frames when you have like a document. You don't have to make single columns. It's really fast using your keyboard. And again, I'm going to go and show you that these text frames are actually threaded. So if I do show text threads again, show these blue lines, and it tells you that these text frames are threaded, right? So I have my threaded text frames. Now I'm going to place some text over here. I really don't know why these words are so garbled up, but it works for me right now. I cannot pronounce half of the words over here right now. But see, what I did was I selected the text, and when I applied body, it just affected that part. It's because you have to select all your threaded text. And when I press body, this is what it did. I had already created a body style, and now you know, like even before you unselected, the space that was created, it shows you that it's taken the body style. And if I want, I can fill it with more placeholder text. And when I put more text onto an already body style, all the text frames takes the body style. So you've already attached styles to your text, and if you put any more text in that frame, it's going to take that style. So now what I'm going to do is, I don't like this blue. It's too much of cyan. I'm going to make it darker. So I'm going to take this light blue color and I'm going to make it much, much darker so that I have a better readability. People can actually read my document. So I go to the swatches panel and I'm adjusting colors. I like this blue. Now you see, wherever this blue was there in the entire document, this actually changed to the dark blue. Because this is swatches, it's a global level setting, you can change it across your doc. Everywhere that cyan was there, it has changed to this dark blue. So this is the power of swatches, and this is how my document is looking like right now. Pretty much managed to put the images, the text, made the bleed area, attach the cover image, and we have like 2 or 3 more things to go. Text wrapping. When you have a complex object or a square or a circle or a shape, and you don't always like work differently with images and text, right? This is a very simple layout. You have images on the left hand side, you have text on the right hand side. But you sometimes want to play around with the image and the text on the same canvas because it looks more interesting. So I'm just going to show you text wrapping. So first what I'm going to do is over here, I'm just going to zoom into this area. I'm going to delete some text because otherwise it's going to mess around with my text wrapping. So let me delete some part of this text. I have to figure this out because once I like do the text wrapping, it might just overflow. Now I'm going to place an image. So if you see over here, I've created a PSD file. Why not a JPEG or a PNG? Because if I have a PSD file, any object that you've removed the background. So here I have a piano where I've moved the I've just completely removed the background. I see the edges here. I want the text to wrap around this piano. So I'm going to drop this PSD right at the corner of the document because I want the text wrapping to happen at the edge. So I dropped it, right? But still, the text just ended. It didn't interfere with, like there's still white space next to the piano. It's not wrapping right now because it's just an image which is over the text frame. So I pressed Option Command W, which is the text wrap shortcut, and I see some options here. This is wrap around bounding box. So that is on. If that option is on, what the text is actually doing is it's wrapping around the box. Over here there are certain controls. You can give it some indent, like kind of spacing. So when I'm increasing it, you see a margin being formed around the image frame. And if you see, this margin has been created. So this is sort of like your shell or your bubble around you. You won't let anyone enter that space. No text can come close to that picture. This is my shield. So when I drag that image anywhere across the layout, what's happening is the text is actually adjusting itself. It's not letting that text come into that area. This is very important when you have images and you want to give it those subtle margins and then just play around with it. You can place the image anywhere you want. You can place it on the left column, the right column, or even in the center. But still, I want this text to actually align next to the piano ridges. I've taken so much time to like delete the background on Photoshop. This can happen on a PNG as well. Why did I place a Photoshop document? Because I want the text to just flow across the edges. So now I'm going to do the second option in text wrap. So this is no text wrapping. So no text wrapping, what's going to happen is the text is just going to be there at the back and the object is just going to be here. I don't think anyone designs like this, so don't even try it. This is really bad design, man. So I'm just showing you the icons because sometimes you can just understand by the icons in the panel how you can wrap text. This is the wrap around the edges, like the text is wrapping around edges. That's the symbol for it. And if you see, it says wrap to both right and left edges. So InDesign is very powerful. It can give you multiple options to wrap it around just the left edge or just the right edge. So I actually managed to wrap it, but it looks pretty sad. It looks crappy. I don't want it like this, right? If I zoom into the details, you see there's a blue line that has formed around the piano. And you see a lot of plus, minuses. You can actually, this has sort of formed a border around the whole image. So I can actually, yes, push it out and make these custom adjustments, and the text is just going to move out of its way. Sometimes this is pretty tedious to do because if you have a really complex object, it's almost like vector art creation of a complex object because you're actually taking the nodes and squeezing out stuff. But I pretty much want to do it because I want the layout to look clean and nice. So I managed to push out a lot of text. I'm just going to like fiddle with this last node over here. It actually shows you how the text is moving out when I fiddle with this node. So I'm just going to target that node and push it out. Yeah, just let me get hold of it. Yeah. So this is how we actually do text wrapping, and now what I'm going to show you, and I need a clap of hands for this because this is a feature that is very close to my heart, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So please let's have a round of applause because all these panels and all these workflows, it's going to be in your heads, but this is a completely like a beginner thing that we are trying out in InDesign. This is more of on-context menus and more of like no panels, no workspaces. I'm really excited to show you guys this. So OpenType, how many of you guys know what OpenType is? Okay, can you explain? What's your name? The person who, yes, you. Yes, that's really nice. So I really like the OpenType guys. There are font developers who are really working hard. I know all of us work hard, but these guys, they actually create like huge font sets to make the type look really beautiful. And what InDesign does is it doesn't care a damn. It just like hides it in a panel. So what I'm going to show you is it's like hidden somewhere where you can't even see it, and it's too complex to even access it. And you just don't know what you're going to do with OpenType features. Like, what is OpenType? Like, the type is not open, the panel is not open. I'm going crazy here. So I'll give you a demo about like the OpenType features. First, I'm going to show you how it used to work in the old way. It was pretty tedious. So I have Piano Festival. Right now it's in a different font because I want to show you the whole power of the font and the tool. So usually Pro fonts, usually Minion Pro or some font which has a Pro ending, it's called an OpenType font. So here we have Minion Pro, and if I go to that little settings button over there in the panel, I see OpenType right here. Finally I found it. And then I see ordinal, fractions, stylistic sets, subscript. So this is the new build where we actually have taken stylistic set names and we've changed it. Actually it makes some meaning now. Otherwise you used to see set 1 in brackets and set 2 in brackets. It never made any sense to me. I'm a visual person, I want to see it visually. So I go to Windows and I go to Types and Tables. And there we have something called glyphs. Wow, it took me a while. Option Shift F11, another shortcut, and I get the glyph panel. And here we see multiple options. That poor font developer guy, He's taken so much time. He's never even like sat next to a beach. He's always on the computer and created like all these cool, open type fonts, but we are not even using it. What the hell are we doing? So let's just give that buddy some sort of like space so that he can enjoy as well. So right now I'm going to demo this. I'm going to choose P, we get a blue highlight, and we see the P right there. It's got a swish there. The O, it's looking too simple. I'm just going to go and click that O and I get a swish there. You see how the whole type is changing. E, okay, it's fine. S, maybe that looks more like nice. L, I like the swish over there as well. And there you have it. The Piano Festival, it's right there. And it's changed completely in terms of looks. And that my font buddy right there solved everything for me. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to add any color. Didn't have to add any kerning. It's beautiful. Like the type is flowing so smartly. Now, if you select the text frame, we have a new option called the O, the adornment O. If you click on the adornment, you see multiple options. These are all open type options. So you can apply these options. And this little live text that you see, which is called 14th edition in the dialog, it actually shows you the place in the text frame. The first time the ordinal features in the text frame, that live text is going to show you there. So, it gives some sort of a meaning to these words. If I didn't know what ordinal means, at least I can see a visual example of that text and actually see how it's looking to choose it. So, while I was doing that, I knew I had to do 14th. But in addition, I discovered something new. That font buddy of mine actually made such a nice N. So, I applied that N. So, on the second page, I'm going to do like change the N and stuff the similar way that I did it on the first page. I'm going to do it quickly. So, okay, let's do this. The T is going to change, R is going to change. Okay, that looks really bad. I'm just going to keep it to the R. So, I've sort of made this heading simpler, but there is also another power to this. Like if you have bulk text, if you have a lot of text, you're not going to go there on every individual word and you're going to try to mess with OpenType, right? So this is basically the word level controls of OpenType. So I've chosen Charles Buenos, and if I do all small caps, which is the OpenType option available there, you see I can apply it right there. Again, I press the O icon for 5th January and I see I can do all small caps, I can do a /0, I can do an ordinal as well. But again, for bulk text, it is so tedious. You have to do it for every word, every line, and I don't want to do that, right? So I'm just going to switch all of this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the base of this text frame. So whenever you select, this is the V tool for shortcut for selection of text frames. I press O and there you go. We have 5 OpenType features right there in my context menu. I can apply it right there and it applies all across the text frame. You have a little blue highlight that tells you that the ligatures have been applied. You can apply multiple OpenType features on the same text frame. So I have applied stylistic sets and ligatures and it all comes with a blue highlight. So it's really easy for me to even spot these subtle differences in InDesign, now which you would have never noticed had it been hidden in these panels and context menu. So personally, it was a pleasure for me to design this. I had a lot of fun doing it. Now let's go to the right-hand side, which is even smaller text. I don't even know if OpenType features, whatever OpenType features is called, can be applied here. So I go here and I press ordinals and immediately I can see these blue highlights. It's actually applied ordinals to the text frame. So there it is. My OpenType features and OpenType things are right ready and it's right there. So I hope you guys liked it. Now going ahead, we have just 2 more things to do. Thank God I just chose 10 and not the entire whole set, otherwise we would have just stuck around here. So inserting page numbers, right? So page numbers are important because once you're creating long docs or you're creating like 3-fold brochures or even like short annual reports, page navigation is extremely important. And this demo is also going to show you a lot about the pages panel. So I'm going to zoom in right there at the corner. And this is my pages panel, one of the most important panels of InDesign because you'll be navigating through your doc with this panel. I think I must have said important to every feature, right? So I don't know which one is more important than each other. You guys figure it out once you'll actually start working on the doc. So this is the master pages. Masters are actually the master of the doc, the master of the slides. So anything that you put on the master page, it's going to just morph. All the other pages are going to morph accordingly. So this is the master page template. And you have, you have your text tool and you create a little box and you just insert like a word or something like that, but you don't do anything. So usually what mistake I used to do is I used to put a letter there and I used to feel that, oh, I have to put an A or a B, but that is not what you do. You go to type, you go to insert, special character, and once you go to insert special character, you have something called markers and you have something called current page number. Now that shortcut is really damn hard. So Option Shift Command N is the shortcut for page number. It's hidden a lot, but you actually can add this once you know that it comes in through the insert menu. Now why an A? I was like, why is it an A? Because it's the A master. Because you're editing the A master, it's an A. If you had created another master, which would be a B master, this symbol would be a B. So this is why it's called an A. So now once I've actually put in that A symbol, so this is actually working as a symbol. So now I'm going to format this text a little bit because otherwise it's going to look really lame like the Minion Pro. So I formatted it, I right aligned it, I'm going to change the font, I'm going to change the point size of this. I think this looks good to go. And I'm going to get out of master pages and there you go. Any number of docs, like any number of pages that you have in the documents, the page numbers are already there. And you can play around with page numbers by creating multiple masters. It can, like if you don't want a page number on a certain page, you can make different masters, attach page numbers, and your text will flow. But this is the very basic of page numbers. This is just like putting a page number on every page. So this was the demo for like inserting page numbers. And now finally we've come to export and packaging, where we can like take this entire brochure and send it to a printer. We can export it as a print PDF. We can package it as an InDesign file. The difference between, again, sending a source file, please don't do that. The other guy will never be able to look at your source document. So let's start with the demo of actually exporting it. I have this brochure which I've created in the last 1 hour. And now I'm going to go to File and I'm going to export this. So there I go, File, and the shortcut for export is basically Command E. There you go. And you have this document, this dialog, and what it says is the format is Adobe PDF print. So print is the highest format that InDesign users usually want to publish in, but you have multiple options here. You have EPUBs that you can export this to. You have an interactive PDF doc that you can take this document, add interactivity, and publish this as an EPUB, or you can publish it online as well. Now this is the shortcut for package. It's Option Shift Command P, and you see over here, there are a lot of options. So fonts, links, colors, it basically tells you, gives you a dialog where you can package all of the stuff that you write, so like you work so hard upon. Your fonts, your colors and images, you can package it into a nice little folder and you can send it off to the printer. And what this package right now lets you do is include a PDF for print, which was not there before. So usually like printers want to see a PDF and not open the source file, see a preview of it. So it also includes a PDF for print, and now it's creating a PDF, right? So my folder is ready. So this is the ID Max 2016 demo folder in which we have this. So usually a package file will have the terminology of a package file will have a folder text attached to it. So in the package file, if you see, there's the PDF, there's some instructional text which is pretty useless because printers don't follow your instructions anyway. You just have to call them and be behind their back. And you see like there's a PDF, there's an INDD, there's an IDML. IDML is an interchangeable format. Basically like if you have an InDesign older version, you can take like an older version of InDesign file and open it in a new InDesign tool. That is IDML, that's an interchangeable format. And now I have this PDF ready and good to go. I have packaged it, I have exported it. But one step, even more cooler, is taking this document which I've done for print and publishing it online. Now for doing the publish online demo, just have to like add very basic animations to parts of the text, parts of the object frames. So what I'm going to do is, this is the publish online button. Usually you'll have a magenta border around it, but I've published online so many times that that border has gone. So that is the discoverability factor for this button. So let's just choose this text, and once we've chosen this text, I want to like add some animations to it. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to quickly add some very basic animations. So how do we trigger the animation panel? So how we trigger this is we go to window and we go to the interactive option and we go to the animation option. So once we have the interactive and animation option open, we will get a panel that will give you a set of features to add animation. So there we go, we click on animation. And we have this panel. So the white space right now it shows blank because there is no preview of the animation to it. So once we start adding animations to an object, you will actually see a small little preview there. This is the name of the text frame that you've chosen. You can adjust duration and speed. There are multiple controls there. You can see the entire properties of the animation panel. But I'm not going to get into the depth of it because I want to show you publish online of how, how you can take animated docs from InDesign and actually publish it online. So quickly let me put in animation here. So I'm going to put in a fade in animation, and you can see that little pink butterfly that basically shows you a preview of the short animation that you've put in. So it's a fade in. 1 second is too less for me. So I'm going to do a 1.5 second animation and multiple options. So you can once you've layouted everything, you can play around with this panel. Going to go to 14th edition and let's try a different animation here. Let's do a fly in from left because I want this to flow in differently from the piano festival. And once I've done fly in from left, you can see the event that I've specified there is on page load. On page load means whenever the page starts loading, this is going to fly in from the left. Quickly let me add animations on the second page as well. I like this, flying from left. It has a lot of white space on the left hand side, so it will give that effect of flying in. Let's play around with fade in and flying in from left. So if you see, I've added these animations, and any animation that has a direction, a green arrow is going to form on the canvas. It specifies the direction of the animation that it's coming in. It's hard to gauge, but it still gives you some sort of a visual affordance that where the animation is coming from. Now another panel inside interactive, window interactive is EPUB interactivity preview. So before you publish it online, if you want to see how your document is looking with these animations, you see that, right? The text flows in. And any page that you've added animations, if you just go and navigate on that page and you press the play button over here, the page is going to load with the animations. So this is the play button in a zoom level. So I'm just going to close this because I pretty much find these animations to be basic enough for the document to flow for now. And how I'm going to actually publish this document online. So publish online is a service which takes the InDesign document and puts it on an Adobe server. And it creates a link which you can share on social platforms with your friends, with anyone, and they can easily access your document. So here is the publish your document online dialog. It basically has two tabs, a general tab and an advanced tab. Don't even bother going into the advanced tab because this is an introductory session, but I'll just show it to you. In the general tab, basic functionality, title, single spread, you deal with whatever options you want to do. Another option that I really like is allow viewers to download the document as PDF print. So anybody who wants to download the document from the web can do that. They'll get a print PDF ready. In the advanced options, something that I really like is adjusting the resolution of the image because that depends on the load time on the browser, right? You want to compress those images to 96 ppi or 144 ppi. So you would love it to load faster. You can learn about this feature by just going down there and pressing the Learn More button. Lots of articles on it, lots of videos on it. So now I've pressed the Publish button, finally. And here you see that uploading your document is happening. You see this blue thing going. So basically, the document is now going to the cloud. It's uploading the document. Okay, yes. So your document is going to be there for 90 days. That is the amount of time that will be there if you run out of your Creative Cloud subscription. Otherwise, it's going to stay as long as your subscription stays. But 90 days is the validity. Yes. Definitely. You can even like take your animations and do an EPUB out of it because Publish Online is just a quick way of showing this. The animations on a server, but you can obviously make an EPUB and your animations are going to be there. So, yes. So our QE team did do a browser testing and I think it works fine unless you really go down into the dungeons into a really old Internet Explorer age. So it sort of works for mostly like Chrome, it's really fast, and Firefox, it works really awesome. So I think that's cool. Yeah. So yes, my document was successfully uploaded and now I can view my document. So I'm just going to go quickly view my document. Here you see the view document button and here the document is loading and you see this is your viewing layout on the browser and you can see if you if you go into the viewing layout, there are thumbnails that are created and you can actually navigate through the thumbnails. This actually sort of gives you a shell where you can share it with your friends in a really clean viewing layout and your document is going to stay right there. You can obviously go full screen, you can share, you can embed, you can do a lot of cool stuff. But since we are running out of time, let me show you other options as well. Let's go to the web dashboard. So the web dashboard can be accessed from this dialog over here and you can always go to File and trigger the web dashboard from right here. So you can see the recently published docs and you can also see the dashboard from here. So here I've been like going crazy with the demo files. So you can see it in my recently published. This is the Publish Online dashboard. Let me click on it And once I click on it, it will take you to the web. So here we go, and this is it. So this document is loading. I'll just forward this, and you see a variety of documents here, right? And every document comes with an option of sharing, embedding, and deleting it, right? So let us move forward, and I'll quickly show you. This is like sharing a publication. This is embedding the document. These are two tabs for publication and analytics. If we go to the analytics tab, basically you can see the overview of all the document analytics that you have. You can also see the document trends that gives you analytics for every level of document. So you can just hover over the cards and you can actually see what the analytics look like for these cards. And I'm pretty much done with Publish Online. You guys can explore it more. And I sort of knew that I won't have time for the touch apps. So let's keep it for another day. Let me end this session. But all I want to say is Comp CC is the iPad app. You can create quick layouts on Comp CC on your iPad, and then just press the magic button. It will sync with your InDesign, and you can just like continue doing your layouts from touch apps to the InDesign space. A big thank you to everyone on screen, my mentors, the entire InDesign team, all of you out here who had the patience to listen to me. It was a pleasure being here. Like, we flew all the way from India, and it's fantastic to just do this session with all of you guys. Thank you so much.